Hey everyone, Ivy League Gaming here, and today we're playing Dragonheir Silent Gods. For today's video, I'm going to give you guys a detailed breakdown, a ultimate beginner's guide. Let's talk about what you should be doing day one and beyond. This guide is intended to give information for those who have not started playing yet, or maybe you have started but you want to make sure you're not forgetting anything. Let's dive into it. I'm going to be as clear and concise as possible. We're going to talk a little bit about everything, so let's go. First of all, we have the start of the game. You're going to be able to go into a guest mode. You don't have to connect your account right away, although that doesn't necessarily mean what you think it does, rerolling. I wouldn't bother rerolling in this game. It takes a bit of time before you start getting any Heliolite die, and you really don't get many opportunities to get legendaries early on. It takes way too much time to do so, and I really think it's fine. Just summon those Starlight die as you get them, and you will be off to a great start with the rares and the epics you get, and hopefully you get lucky and get a legendary early. But don't be discouraged if you don't. So you're going to be here. You can log in if you want, but you don't have to right away. You could always connect an account later. You're going to see the server list. For me, I'm on an older server because I started day one. New servers do come out every couple days. So if you're a very competitive player and you want to make sure you're starting on day one with everybody else, so that way you're on an even playing field, you could always download the game, pop in, see what the new server is. Okay, today is Sinner Swamp. Let me check tomorrow. Tomorrow is a different... Okay, let's go. I'm in. Let's roll. You could kind of look at it that way. Also, I do want to note that when it comes to servers, this is going to determine your groups for everything. So because this is a server-based game, you don't have to worry about competing with whales that have been playing for a while. You will be in a group with people of your level, being able to rank and get the best ranking you possibly can for the sake of the seasonal resets. And of course, the general weekly or daily content or events as well. And with that in mind, there's also weekly content. Your weekly reset, I have got confirmation, is exactly a week from when your server was created. So knowing when your server started is probably a good idea. But as far as I know, they do start every 2 days as of this recording. When you go into the game, you're going to be able to create your character. The character creation screen is really fun. It allows you to have a little bit of customization, choose a different race, and a little bit of appearance. Now, there is a little bit of options that are limited. I really wish we could choose like a male or female elf and not just be stuck to one. Or some of the other appearance options feel a little limited, like hair color. Hopefully they'll slowly increase that over time, and we'll have new options to choose for your main character, your adventurer. Keep in mind that with every seasonal reset, you'll get to restart your main character as well. Speaking of which, this game is season-based. There are going to be certain things that reset or don't reset each season. Season 0 of Closed Beta 2 is going to roll into Season 1 of Global. So you can get a little bit of a head start and get some fun characters to start with. But don't worry if you're playing brand new at Global and you're waiting. It's okay. You will not be at a disadvantage because you will be on a new server with new people just like you. Which main character you pick does not really matter when it comes to the appearance. Just pick whatever you like. Once you've progressed in the story, you'll get to choose your identity. This is a little bit of a debate as to which is the best option to pick. You'll also get some stats that go along with that. The stats you get are called your attributes. You can choose to increase certain ones over time that you decide are the best for your style of gameplay. And I actually chose Thief. I still think the Thief might be the best identity, but you can certainly make that decision on your own. The good things with Thieves here is you can actually steal, which will get you great resources, and you can lockpick, which means every single chest doesn't require a gosh darn key. There are certain ones with quests that require a key, but for the most part you don't need to worry about that, and you can just grab anything from any chest, and it just makes things a little bit easier. But I think the more we play, the more we realize we can get the keys pretty easy anyway, so that's debatable whether or not you still want to go that route. For now, I have no regrets of picking Thief, which also goes along with Dexterity. This is what allows you to be more skilled at stealing and escaping danger. Now, if you try to steal and you get caught, it's Charisma that is going to be the benefit. You can convince people that, hey, it wasn't me. You can lie to people in the story to have the things benefit you when you're doing something wrong, like stealing, or it can benefit you in some story stuff as well. Now, this it's maybe not as important as I thought it was at first. I might say intelligence would be a little bit better. This allows you to gain insight into the truth that no one else understands, as it says. So this is actually going to come into play when you do rolls for cooking. Cooking allows you to get consumables, and you get more than just 1 or 2. You can get up to 3 consumables with 1 roll of a recipe, and that could actually really benefit you. The consumables are pretty good, but if you find yourself not using the consumables as often, this might not be as valuable early on, but I think it's going to come into play later game, especially if we start to really realize the benefits of those consumables. Now, there's also strength, which allow you to deter others with your fists. I love how they put that. Fight people? I don't know, when you're dealing with NPCs, and also be able to carry heavy objects easier. So that might make some of the puzzles easier, but that's not a big deal when it comes to just moving the physical objects. There's also Constitution, which is dealing with the drinking contest right now. There might be some other things that you win later on, but right now the drinking contest, as it gives an example of, and really the rewards are terrible. It's just a little bit of coin. It's not really worth it. So definitely don't worry about choosing any attributes or a role that gives you good constitution. Wisdom here is going to allow you to spot danger or discover the truth, as it says, but there are some roles when you're running around the world where you can kind of not detect something, but I think you can just try it again and it's fine. Or it allows you to prevent you from going into a battle if there's some goblins that you don't spot the danger ahead of time. But that's really not the biggest deal, honestly. So personally, I really think that dexterity and intelligence are going to be the best. Maybe strength later on, but you can choose how you go. You can try to go all in on one or split up your stats. And luckily, if you don't like the style of gameplay in one season, next time season resets, you'll get to restart your character. Another important thing to note with our main character, our adventurer, is the elemental power. You start off as fire, but you can change it to the other elements when you get a little bit deeper into the story. Now, this can really benefit you because you want to build your team around synergy, around elemental affinity, and this can be a very big part of that. You're likely going to use your adventurer in most team compositions. Keep in mind that day 1 is going to be very story heavy. Try to sit back and smell the roses and enjoy the story. That is what they created, right? It's supposed to be a Dungeons and Dragons inspired. Lore is going to be a big part of this, and try to enjoy it a little bit. So also make sure you're paying attention to some of the tutorials that pop up. Try not to fast click through everything to speed through as fast as possible. You're just going to find yourself roadblocked if you do. Speaking of tutorials, we do have a section here that allows you to kind of go through and see stuff that you might have had pop up while you're playing, but maybe you accidentally clicked off or you want to read it again. This is really helpful to kind of see some of the basics in the beginning, or maybe there's some stuff you missed completely, like I don't remember seeing this pop up, but here it is. You can go ahead and read a little bit about how it's going to work, and yeah, just learn a little bit more about the game and make sure you understand the basics. And this guide section is going to be a very simple way to do so. We also need to talk about your settings. So once you click the plus at the top, it's going to come here. Your account you can bind. Make sure you link your account. Mine is already linked, as it says, to Google. And when you switch characters, that's going to switch you to a different server if you have multiple accounts running. So that's something to keep in mind as well. When it comes to the display, of course, if your computer and your phone can handle it, go right ahead. Put very high, put a higher resolution, and put all the details up. and enjoy the way the game is meant to be consumed. But of course, if you're having trouble or if you want to just not make your computer explode, you can do it at lower levels, but very high obviously is better overall. All right, and then the audio settings, I just want to point out, this is a little bit confusing, but the word mic here in the audio settings actually means the voices. So if the voices are too loud, or if they're annoying you in battle because they just keep saying the same thing, or when you're walking around the world, you really can't stand that, well, here is the spot for changing or getting rid of your voices. Although I think it's kind of fun to hear them a few times, especially when you have new characters. I mean, Vitar and her Storm will just always be in my head, or accept your fate is like a household term now. So it's really fun when a game actually creates something that's special that sticks in your head. Even if it seems annoying, it can become a running joke, right? Also, when it comes to the interface, this game allows you to skip animations completely for sake of their like ultimate animations, which honestly I've not really seen a lot of them do these ultimate animations, or the sake of like this dungeon has a special cutscene. First of all, I definitely do not suggest to say never play, especially when you're going to be running into some really cool dungeons for the first time. There's some gorgeous cutscenes with the big dragon for the green dragon and the purple dragon battles. You want to watch them. It's only once a week and they're really nice. But not many of the characters seem to really have stuff. I said for the first time each battle, and I don't even see like any ultimates except for one girl, but maybe that'll change in the future. I might actually putting it to keep play just so I find out if there's any hidden ones I didn't notice. And then when it comes down here, I want to point out the service. This is where you put in any promo codes if you get them later on, or like the promo code we got with the pre-registration info that's for global launch. This will go up here in the redemption code section. You're going to want to focus your progression now as you go through. Keep continuing with the main adventure quest. It'll say new adventure here, like above me, and you'll also see the yellow exclamation points on the maps. You'll also see on the map when there's purple, those are side quests, and blue are your daily commissions. But your general pace of play should be focused on pushing through your adventure, the main story quests, and as you do that, make sure you are keeping an eye on your adventure log here for these chapter rewards. This is going to help you to make sure, number one, that you're doing a little bit of farming to improve your characters and push you through to get more experience to get to your max that you can each day. Plus each level gives you experience too, or each milestone. So make sure you're paying attention to your adventurer quests as well. Speaking of XP and adventure quests, it is a very important thing to note that once you can see the event button, you need to go and bond. Now, I have a special video all about this. TLDR is adventure gathering. Make sure you bond with someone before level 5. Then once you hit level 5, you can share your code to someone else to bond with you. But go ahead over and watch my video about the details regarding that, of course, as well, and make sure you get the biggest benefit you can. We want all the free resources we can, especially a free Heliolite dye, which is very hard to come by. Of course, there's a daily check in here as I'm on right now. Every 7 days and 14 days, you're going to get bonuses as well on top of the daily. So just make sure you're checking in every single day to get the max rewards at the end of the month. You want to make sure you're also doing your daily commissions no matter what every day. We will cap out later on at doing 6 commissions at a time, and you can get these bonuses every 4 commission on top of just your commission bonus. You get even more stuff. So right now you're capped at 2, at least I'm on the first week as of this recording, so you will not be able to do beyond that. But 100%, if you're going to do anything every single day, make sure this is priority. It's a ton of experience that you really don't want to miss. It does show up here as this blue, there it is, this blue dot on the map, and you can teleport and usually go to it and complete them pretty easily for pretty good rewards. Also, noticing my map here, you can see I am capped with level for a couple of things with this special gray diamond around my spot here to continue my quests. You do get capped at your journey level, which is your overall account level. Depending on the day, you can only get so far. You'll notice that everyone is at the same points for a certain reason, because this game does have time gating, I think people also refer to it as. But as of this CBT2, it is what it is, and we kind of have to roll with it. But I don't honestly mind. The more and more I play, the more I kind of like it. I just go in, grind a little bit, improve my account. It gives me time to re-gear my people and roll stuff up and not feel like I need to just keep pushing too fast. So I actually kind of like it the more and more I play, but it's a debate in the community for sure. But that's one reason why I want to say you don't have to skip. You can actually play pretty slowly. You're gonna get time gated anyway, and once you get to that point, I mean, then what? You're just doing very easy dailies. So there's really no reason to rush. As long as you're doing your daily commissions as fast as you can to make sure you're getting these 2 every single day, because those are limited. It really doesn't matter how fast you do your adventure quests, because you can play at whatever pace you want. And the game, this isn't gated on time. The only thing that's gated with time, as far as you should do it every day and make sure you don't miss out, is your 2 commissions. So that is part of it, although I guess the faster you grind, the faster you'll get to more commissions daily. But I really don't feel it's a rush. One other thing to note is the important event. There is a special event that you want to make sure you are paying attention to regarding resetting your heroes. You can only reset heroes for a very limited time. This is only for 3 full days from when your server opens. So if you go into a server and you're only like 1 day left, you know your server has been out for at least 1 day so far. And this is the time to experiment. This is the time to play with your people and try to get your best team comp figured out before you invest all your resources and you're stuck with them. There is no hero reset after this initial reset. You're stuck. I think it comes down to focusing a core 5 heroes, honestly, and ideally 5 of the same synergy, aka like necrosis and lightning, ice and poison, that sort of thing, or fire and radiant, because you'll get this bonus damage of plus 15% when you have 5 heroes of the same, and 15% bonus elemental damage can really make a big difference. It should also be noted that you should not book anybody till after your event is over. I'm talking about this skill upgrade, the skill scrolls. Do not do that unless the event is over and you've decided, okay, I'm rolling with these people. Like, personally, I really love Eli. Yeah, my main DPS is a rare. No regrets so far. He is really fun. And at the very least, I will have him as my main poison DPS, even if I get better heroes in the future. Why not? You can, as you see over here, actually you can't see because it's behind me. There is a button, reset skill, behind me here. But this takes a special scroll that you obtain from a quest. So this sounds like something we might only get once, right? This is a quest item. So I would not be wasting this on just anybody. Once you do get that, I mean, I would assume you might want to save that for a legendary in case you go all in on someone that you end up changing your mind on, or maybe even the epic scrolls. So kind of wait. I actually did go ahead and book my rare for my damage dealer, and I figured she was a safe bet as an epic to book with those higher level scrolls, because she's a reviver, she's a healer, and I feel like she's gonna be amazing on my team, even with her passive as well, even at least for arena or niche content, but I see using her everywhere, so it's valuable for me. Now we have to talk about the most exciting part, right? Summoning. So in this game, there are 2 types of currency for summons, Starlight Die and Heliolite Die. Starlight Die come pretty often, honestly, not too bad. And with them, they're kind of like a combination of a Mystery Shard and an Ancient Shard if you played Raid Shadow Legends. They are a lower... Oop, let's get on the right one. Haha! They are a lower tier summon, but you at least have a chance to get an epic. And I've got a lot of epics with my Starlight Die, so this 3% is a good thing in this game. You want to be 3%ed in Dragonheir with your summons and actually get lucky. So there's no reason to wait to summon your Starlight die. There is no special events as of now anyway that require you to do summons in order to complete them. At least as of now, as I'm saying. There's also... Okay, this is another debate. Now, when it comes to the Heliolite die, we do get them very slowly. You have been warned. Don't be disappointed. It is what it is. But they are meant to be special, and I'll show you why. You get a legendary hero on your 35th attempt. 35! That's a pretty generous pity. So if they were handing these out and we were getting 30 every week, I mean, that's a little bit too often to get a legendary, I honestly think. I don't think people should be so excited. Like, I don't know. This game does not require legendaries and epics to the extreme, so I don't think we should all be getting 5 or 6 legendaries within our first week of gameplay. That's just not logical for most games anyway, nor does it need to be. So I think this is okay. The only thing I wish here is we can get a little bit more of these just for the excitement for your first week. At least the first week. Like, okay, although, I mean, am I mad? No. It's 1 week in, I've got 14 summons done, and I did use Wormaro to do so. You can convert your Wormaro to summons. You also could save those for legendary scrolls. Scrolls for the legendary heroes, I mean. And that's really valuable too, so you can decide how you use it. Or you could use your Wormaro for energy, for stamina. So at the end of the day, if you're going to use all this on summons, I mean, you can actually get quite a bit. I'm not mad. I've played for a week and I've already done 14 of these summons. And that's pretty good, I think. I'm not mad. But yeah, the rates are pretty good. And as noted, you actually have a pity at 35. When you do summon duplicates, it does exchange into a currency you can use at the artifact shop. There's some fancy stuff too. Plus there is some improvements for your characters if you summon legendaries, but I do have a separate video all about the dupe system that explains this a little bit better and gives some suggestions, so go ahead and watch that video if you haven't already. That will kind of answer really what to do with your duplicates and where is the value. There's also this special event right now called Echoes of Otherworld. This is goes on for quite a bit here. I think it was like 30 days, or almost, yeah, 30 days. Where you can get a bonus legendary once you've done 80 summons on this banner. Now this is a banner, so keep that in mind when it comes to the events. If you have another event up like these other ones here, these are special events related to summoning as well. If you summon on one of these banners, it does not carry over to the 80 count. So personally, I think it's best just to keep summoning on that normal banner regarding the 80 instead of this one, because at least you're getting that guarantee no matter what, where this is a little bit wonky. So these ones have like a pity with your 5th legendary pulled. Pretty much you're going to put in a legendary of your choice on the wish list, but it takes pulling 5 legendaries to get there, and I honestly don't think it's really worth the time or effort to invest in these unless they dramatically change these events. They're super pay to win. They're Kraken territory, and honestly, I think even the Krakens don't want to summon on these banners. It's just a little bit too much, I think, honestly. Also, regarding events, this is one thing I really have to stress. These events have a timer. Pay attention, number 1, to the timer. I almost missed out here. So hard training, obviously, I don't even know how you get way down here. Maybe if you're using your Wormaro for energy and actually grinding out stuff instead of using your Wormaro for summons, oops, you could actually complete this. But I'm only at the 2nd level and it's about to end, but hopefully I can push myself more today. We'll see. I don't know, but try to pay attention and we're going to get some bonus rewards. Same thing here. This is something called Goblin Rage. The one before this was for a different set of dungeons, and the one that you're seeing on day 1 is also different. It seems like every 3 days this event is changing, so make sure you're farming whatever is here with this style of event. The very first event gives you a Heliolite die as the end reward, so you're gonna want to be going for that. but once that event runs out, another one does pop up, and it does give very similar rewards like this one here. They've been very easy to do, completely free to play with only the energy we're getting naturally. I have not used any worm arrow for energy even, and I've still been able to complete these within the 3 days. Now, when it comes to battles and building your team, we got to dive into that a little bit. As I've talked about, elemental affinity is important. This is what you want to work on. At the very least, you want to get 3 heroes that are aligned to get the bonus. 5 heroes would be great, but if you can't do that early on, don't stress. Make sure you have your bases covered. And by your bases covered, I mean you're probably going to use your adventurer. Now, which one do you want to use? That's up to you and the rest of your team. Fire does, I think, the most damage. Lightning gives you a little bit of crowd control, and cold gives you more support. But honestly, I think you're fine either way using them as is. But I went poison and cold. Oops, I gotta change her back. I was messing around with something, which I'm gonna talk about in a second regarding leveling up our characters. But yeah, I've been using my adventurer here as colds. So ignore the fact that it was on lightning for the previous part of this video. That's something I'll explain in a moment. So when it comes to our teams, you're really gonna want 2, probably 3 DPS, a tank, and a healer / support. Now, you might get away with 2 strong DPS and 3 supports, one of them being a tank, one of them being a healer, then someone else just a beneficial additional support. But I also want to note that a lot of the characters in this game are called supports, even if they are a damage dealer. There's so many interesting people that, okay, Questa. She's considered a support because she does a buff, but that doesn't mean she's actually just a support hero. She's actually really high damage and can really, really smack. So don't let support discourage you. But you are going to want a tank. You really need a melee damage dealer on the front line that can soak up the attention and the damage from your ranged units. Your adventurer here is a ranged unit. And then I'm using an archer. He's ranged. She's melee, so she can kind of go in and distract, but she's going to be a little bit squishier. So I want someone else in the front that can help keep her alive. Or I don't even need this legendary, guys. So I do have a legendary, oh, you got a legendary already. I could use this guy. I don't even need him. I really don't. I did some teams with him, and he does the same job. He's a really good tank. He also heals, and he stays in the front line. So keep in mind though, his heal is with his melee damage, so you're gonna really have to pay attention to these grids. He is only gonna heal within his range and help keep people alive here. So if you have people in the back line doing range damage and he's up there attacking the people directly, he's not helping to heal the people in the back line. So someone like this cannot be your only healer unless you have a full melee damage team. This is going to be what I love about the game, and I hope other people like. There is a lot to understand and uncover about team synergy, and it allows you to really customize a team pretty well, including with the gear systems that are pretty advanced and the extra artifacts, and there's just so much more that allow for customization. Speaking of customization, when it comes to leveling up your adventurer, I'm ready to enhance, but oh wait, I'm using cold. I might want to level up my legendary instead with these materials. You know what? This is something I want to mention as a trick. You can swap. So I'm not using anyone that's fire right now, and I'm not planning to build a fire team next. I'm planning to build a lightning and necrotic. So you know what? Let's switch her to fire. And then we're going to enhance her. If you're not working on a certain element and you have extra crystals and you could use those to level up your adventure instead of the one that you need for the rest of your team, do that. Because once you do the leveling, you can just switch her back to the one you're actually using and be good to go. If that allows you to save having to farm a dungeon extra times, you might as well do it. Now, when it comes to farming dungeons, you will unlock the different elemental dungeons. Fire is very hard to do without a full AoE cleanse, so good luck getting beyond level 2, at least for a while. Ice is gonna be the one that I need for my people. So the only problem with the elemental dungeons is the higher levels you get, the more disadvantage you get. So behind me here, enemies take 60% less cold and poison damage and deal 60% more damage to your ice and poison heroes. So there are elemental disadvantages when you're farming in the dungeon with the resource you need with the heroes that also go along with that. So that's an unfortunate way it's set up, but it's smart. It makes you build multiple teams. But don't worry, just farm level 2 for a while. I'm still farming level 2s. I'm really not stressing about farming level 3 yet. And then the game said hold my beer, and later that day on stream I farmed level 3 for lightning. So I did go ahead and farm lightning because it was the easiest to get my traveler up. Now when it comes to the battle mode, we have to talk about positioning. So your position matters a lot, especially with certain characters. Like, okay, let's see here. You hold long press and you can see their skills. Like, she gives a shield only in a certain pattern. Or a healer that does the same thing. The free healer we get here. She does the same thing with her heal. It's in a certain pattern for her heal. So you want to make sure you're placing people logically to get the best benefit from them. Also, you want to make sure that you're lining things up properly, right? So what do these lines mean? So yellow... Okay, let's start it. Red means they're going to attack you. So if I have him in the middle, everyone is going to attack him first, at least. And the purple means you're going to be attacking each other. So like if I moved him up here, 4-bit and him would be attacking each other, and then he would just be getting attacked by the other two from afar. And that's kind of how this works. So here... Yellow means that you are going to attack them, but they are not going to attack you. And that's what you'll see in a proper situation with if someone is really being your only tank, you want to see that they are getting all the red. Or if you have a couple tanks, you might want to divide up the red in between the two people so that not one person is getting all the damage. But again, red means they're attacking you. Purple means you're attacking each other. Yellow means you're attacking them, but they're not attacking you. Really quickly down here, you can see these animations are on auto right now, but if you want to do semi-auto, you can actually turn the battle mode right here. In the center, you could click off them, and then you have to manually choose to do their ultimates. So if you know that there's someone that, like her, she might be a good one to manual, the elf. So this rare here is actually pretty great to use. I'm still using her. I really like her. And she's one you might want to semi-auto sometimes if you're having trouble beating certain battles. She has this thing where if her ability kills an enemy, then she explodes with like a poison damage in an AoE. And that's really helpful to help kill the enemies faster. Something like Goblin, you make sure you attack someone who's about to die so she can then explode and do more damage, helping to kill everything faster. That could benefit you if you get stuck or you're just trying to get past like 3-starring something. I didn't even scratch the surface with the campground, but I do want to point out if you are having troubles in some of your battles, you're finding yourself losing, you might benefit from some consumables. There's really great consumables that can give you extra HP, energy, damage, a whole bunch of different stuff that you can craft from the resources you find in the environment. Once you craft something, it saves it for the future so you can do it again. But yeah, this is a really great thing that is wonderful to improve your skills for at least one battle or a little bit longer, 600 seconds to be exact. So don't forget to try these out if you're close to winning something, but not quite there. There are also limited time events that you can only grab weekly or do weekly. Some are also daily, so let's talk about those. Your Temporal Vortex is a daily guild boss. This is the badass Poseidon character. He's really fun. Actually, this is really important because it's also a reward to collect related to your alliance. It is like your clan boss, like I said, and along with that you get special rewards daily. So if your alliance is taking out the guild boss, you're gonna get those, the alliance boss, the vortex, temporal vortex boss, you're gonna get better rewards depending on what you do as an alliance. So make sure you do that daily. The reward is daily, and of course you don't want to be slacking for the sake of the rest of your alliance. It's pretty easy to do that battle, and honestly, it's a really fun battle and the character looks really cool, so why not? There is also this dragon. Once you unlock this in the story, it took me to like, what, I think it was day 4, maybe day 3. Day 4, I think, though. Where we unlocked the poison dragon, the green dragon. And once you beat that in the story mode, you then can go back again and beat it properly once a week. This will reset weekly, so you want to take advantage because as you can see, you have the chance to get some scrolls, and we want skill ups. Those are a very scarce resource, and making sure you do this once a week is really important. It is a lot harder. Don't be discouraged if that happened to you. Where I haven't beat it yet, I hope I can. The level caps are kind of killer because I can't get my... Now I can, hopefully, get my characters up beyond level 70. But without getting my characters up beyond level 70, I was having a really hard time beating the green dragon. And I couldn't do the first weekly reward yet. But it's okay, it hasn't reset. Again, weekly reset is exactly 1 week from when your server is created, so it's different for everyone. You'll have to figure that out. Also pay attention to your gladiator tickets. They do recharge pretty fast, honestly. I'm constantly finding myself full again. When it comes to arena, this is just a pretty typical arena where you set up your arena defense with your lineup here. It is to the side. This is the back. And this is the front, so don't be confused by that. I was the first time. I was setting up things like this as if this is the front. But yeah, that's a little bit weird that they have this one shown that way versus everything else. It's just weird. But make sure you set the right aura if you have multiple options as well. But this is just your pretty typical arena where you go in and fight someone that has a defense. But there is also another arena option here called the Champion Arena. This is a live arena, a live PvP mode, and it allows you to fight against real people. It also does suggest like computers, bots, if you don't have options, so you can also fight bots too if there's no one around, which is great. But I really love that this game does have a live real-time arena already at not even the launch of the game, it's only beta, so this is really exciting to see. Now, coming back to our journal book here, you could also see there's something called Outer Chaos Rifts. I've already done mine. Oh, no, actually, weekly attempts. It's back to 3. So if you get to the point where the Outer Chaos Rift does not show for you, but it says you have 3 left to do, this does happen after you've hosted one in a certain time period. It doesn't let you host another one again. Or I think this no challenge targets found. I think you have to find these by running around the world. They will pop up while you're running around the world and you can host your own. For one, always do the co-op. You get more. Also, don't be discouraged I've said that a lot. Don't be discouraged. But don't be discouraged if you can't do the higher levels. I think I unlocked stage 5, but we were just doing stage 4. But also you'll see people will put in here when they have other ones to do, like, all right, this guy's already got one full, but I'll keep an eye on it if people are going to be trying to do these constantly. And if you don't have any friends to directly have join you, you can just hit a button to share in a server and someone will join you. So that's a fun way to get better resources and do a little bit of co-op at the same time. You can invite your friends, and friends are cross-server. You can add people as friends no matter what server they're in. But when it comes to alliances, I do want to remind you that alliances are only within one server, unfortunately, for now at least. But it's alright. I mean, hopefully servers will merge as time goes on and it'll make it a little bit easier, or hopefully they change the way alliances work for adding people. The other big obvious is check your stamina. Hit that map. Try not to let your stamina fill up at any point. You're always going to want to be maximizing your resources to always at least farm goblin. When in doubt, just go farm goblin. If you don't want to think about, okay, which ascension materials do I need? Which gear do I want to grind? To be fair, don't even worry about grinding gear early because you're going to get to the higher levels where you want to farm. You don't want to farm for rare gear, you want to farm for epic gear or legendary gear eventually. So don't even bother farming the lower level gear too much, except when you have to for your adventure quests. But just farm up the goblin and farm up your ascension materials because you're going to need them to improve your characters even after you keep hitting those level caps, once you're out, you're going to be ready to go. And I think you're going to wish you had some potions waiting on deck. Now, as a final note to wrap this up, as I mentioned, you will get capped. And if you feel like, all right, I've done everything I could possibly do for the day, my commissions are done, my adventure is as far as I possibly can, I feel stuck. Am I really stuck? Well, for one, you probably are. It's okay. It is the way it is right now. There's adventure caps. But if you've done your commissions and these, as I mentioned, that you can for the day, the other thing I would do would be pop around the towns. I remember I actually like randomly went to Abortia after I had finished a different part of the story and I had nothing else to do for the day. I came in here, I went into one of the areas and I just talked to someone and there was like a new purple quest when I got there. Also, as I click this here, you can actually see there's a battle to do. And one thing I actually made the huge mistake of was not realizing that some of these battles are easy. Level 60. I thought everything was like level 120 because that's what I saw at first. So I have not done all of these first challenge battles just by battling an NPC for bonus rewards. That's another way to get some extra reward resources when you have nothing else to do. So commissions, adventure tab, and talking to some NPCs to see if there's some side quests that are going to pop up. Those are kind of your key things to do. Also exploring the map and making sure that you have done everything you can is going to be helpful as well. You want to make sure that it doesn't look like there's something on the map that's like faded that, oh, maybe I can run to that area. Maybe there's some side quests over there. Also, you can farm around the map for extra random resources just by wandering. Again, the resources do regenerate, so that's another way to get extra stuff for your account if you're bored and have nothing else left to do. Alrighty guys, I'm gonna leave it at that. This has been a really long video and it's a lot to talk about. I barely scratched the surface. There's so many things I could talk about in more depth and we'll try to get to that in future videos. So make sure you leave a comment below with certain topics that you'd wish I could elaborate on. What do you want me to make more detailed videos about? Let me know. Thank you for watching. I hope you guys are enjoying and I hope you continue playing. And remember, this is closed beta test 2. It is not global release. It's still technically a beta. They still want our feedback. Be sure to give it. Don't judge the game too harshly. If you're not liking something, communicate about it and let's make the game the best it can be for global launch, which I will still be playing then for sure. So see you now. If not, see you at global and in the next video.